Good day, everyone. On behalf of the Women of Egypt Initiative, I warmly welcome you to our celebration of International Women's Day and Egyptian Women's Day, both honored in the month of March, a month that celebrates progress, resilience, and the power of women worldwide. My name is Alex Kinyas, and I'm joined by my co-host Dina Al-Mahdi. We're also joined by our unsung hero, Basant Wahid, who's diligently working from behind the scenes to make sure everything runs smoothly. This evening, we're proud to gather Egyptian women from across the globe, from the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. Women who are leading, shaping, and influencing their communities across borders. We're very pleased to welcome our guest of honor, Ambassador Nada Draz, the Egyptian Consul General in Chicago. March 15 also marks Egyptian Diplomacy Day. And on this occasion, we honor all women in diplomacy and extend our warm greetings to Madam Ambassador and to all women serving in the diplomatic corps. Joining us today are also our cultural attachés, professors Nermeen Sabri from the United States, Ahmed Gaber from Canada, Shahinda Izzat, France, Samih Surur, Germany, and Rasha Hussein from the United Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, please introduce your guests.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to introduce my guest from the United States. We have Ms. Raghda Abdel Maqsood, the founder of eBirth School of Aromatherapy. She also serves as the International Director for the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy in Egypt and as the International Relationship Chair. From Egypt, we are delighted to welcome Ms. Lamia Kamel, founder and executive chairman of the CC Plus, a leading corporate consultancy specializing in strategic communications and political PR. She's also the founder of the Narrative PR Summit, which promotes the nation branding. And joining us from the United Arab Emirates, Dr. Reem Qasim, Head of Performing Arts at the Culture Foundation, Departments of Culture and Tourism, Abu Dhabi. She's also the founding director of Agora for Arts and Culture and the co-founder of Basita Live, Canada.
Thank you, Nermeen. First of all, I would like to say Happy Egyptian Women's Day to all of you. We welcome Mrs. Jahan Sabri, radio presenter and the founder, editor, and the publisher of Cross Cultures, a national Canadian bi-monthly magazine she launched in 1991. And now I will forward the mic to my colleague from France. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, and I'm pleased to be joining me from Paris, children's author and translator, Mrs. Miranda Bishara. Miranda is one of the founding members of the Hadi Badi initiative, which aims to bring young readers closer to books through engaging reading experiences. Welcome, Miranda. And now, Professor Samih Surur, Germany.
Thank you, Professor Shahinda. I'm so pleased to be with you today for celebration of the Women of Science Day. And from Germany, we are joined by Ms. Samar Helmi, the co-founder and vice president of Mentor Size, a regional training and coaching organization. UK.
Thank you, Professor Samih. Thank you very much. Last but not least, I would like to welcome Ms. Zeina Dwidar. Zeina Dwidar is an award-winning audio producer and storyteller. She's co-founder of Hikayatna, a platform that connects people through immersive events, discussions, and podcasts. Back to you, Dina.
Thank you to all our guests today for being here today. If time permits, we will also welcome a few questions from the audience at the end of the discussion. So please write your questions in the chat. To begin our program, it is my great pleasure to invite Her Excellency Consul General Nada Dros to deliver the opening remarks. Her Excellency Nada Dros is a distinguished diplomat and a steadfast advocate for women's rights. She has dedicated her career to amplifying women's voices in diplomacy and international affairs. Currently serving as Egypt's Consul General in Chicago, she has previously held key positions as Egypt's ambassador to Malta, consul in France, and deputy chief of mission in Tunisia. Throughout her tenure at the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, she has worked on human rights, cultural diplomacy, and Francophone affairs, ensuring that gender equality remains a core priority in global dialogues. Since 2016, she has been a member of Egypt's National Council for Women and has represented Egypt in major international forums, including the UN Commission on the Status of Women. In recognition of her diplomatic contributions, she was awarded the Knight of the National Order of Merit by the French government in 2020. As we celebrate International Women's Day, her story serves as a powerful reminder that gender should never be a barrier to leadership, ambition, or impact. Please join me in welcoming Her Excellency Consul General Nada Dros.
Thank you, Dina. First of all, I would like to thank all the organizers for inviting me to this very special event. It is a great pleasure and an honor to be among such an esteemed group of Egyptian women to share our experiences on leadership and resilience. But before I begin, please allow me to congratulate all my diplomat colleagues, women and men, as today, the 15th of March, marks the celebration of the Egyptian Diplomacy Day, a day to honor the sacrifices and relentless efforts of members of Egyptian Diplomatic Corps. Having said that, I would like to begin my remarks with a personal memory from early in my diplomatic career. In 2005, when I was posted as a young diplomat in Tunisia, something rather unusual happened. The entire embassy staff was female, from the ambassador to the most junior member of the team. At the time, some people around us were skeptical. There was a sense in certain circles that such an arrangement would certainly lead to difficulties. Some even suggested that we would spend more time in disagreement than in diplomacy. But the reality turned out to be quite the opposite. It became one of the safest, most cooperative, and most productive professional environments I have experienced. Much of that success was due to the wisdom and leadership of our ambassador, who created a culture of mutual respect, discipline, and solidarity. That experience stayed with me and taught me a powerful lesson about leadership and about the strength that emerges when women support one another. When I think about leadership today, I do not think about titles or positions. I think about experiences that shape us, the responsibilities we carry, and the values that guide us throughout our lives. Like many women, my life has been shaped by several roles that coexist and intersect every day. I have been a daughter, a sister, a wife, and a mother. At the same time, I have built a professional path in diplomacy and in international cooperation. Each of those roles have influenced the way I see the world and the way I approach leadership. Working as a career diplomat is deeply rewarding, but it is also demanding on a personal level. It requires constant adaptation to new environments, cultures, and circumstances. It requires passion, perseverance, and at times sacrifice. Diplomats move frequently, adjust to unfamiliar context, and remain attentive to the needs of their country and the people they serve. Balancing these responsibilities while maintaining family life and personal commitments can be particularly challenging. The professional challenges can be equally significant. Women in diplomacy often find themselves under particularly close scrutiny. Mistakes that might be overlooked in others are sometimes judged more harshly when made by women. In many ways, a woman diplomat must constantly navigate between the personal and the political. Throughout my career, I have experienced this balance directly, serving at times as an ambassador responsible for political affairs, and at other times as a consul general responsible for the human dimension of diplomacy, assisting citizens, supporting families, and responding to difficult personal situations. When I began my career more than 30 years ago, the presence of women in diplomacy was far more limited than it is today. It has been inspiring to witness the transformation that has taken place over the years. Today, women represent 52% of the first-year cohort entering the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This is a powerful sign of how far we have come. Women diplomats have also demonstrated extraordinary resilience in some of the most demanding circumstances. Despite stereotypes that once labeled them as too emotional, fragile, or unreliable for high-pressure assignments, women have repeatedly proven their strength and professionalism. We had a remarkable female ambassador representing Egypt during the tragic genocide in Rwanda. More recently, many of the diplomats who remained in our embassies during extremely difficult periods, including in the Sudan War and in Ukraine during the conflict, have been women. Women diplomats have also successfully led demanding missions in major international capitals, such as Geneva, Brussels, Vienna, Tokyo, and many others. Today, Egypt counts 26 female heads of mission serving in our embassies and consulates abroad. And with the current trajectory, this number will continue to rise. It seems that the future may indeed be female. The influence of these achievements continues beyond diplomacy itself. Several ambassadors have gone on to become ministers. Our current national security advisor is herself a former ambassador, marking the first time in the history of the Arab world that a woman has held this position. Many women ambassadors also contribute their expertise as consultants, experts to international organizations, members in the United Nations Treaty monitoring bodies, and in numerous regional institutions. Throughout my journey, I was fortunate to learn from remarkable women who served as mentors and role models. They shared their wisdom generously and reminded me that progress rarely happens in isolation. They believe strongly that women should stand beside one another, support one another, and celebrate one another's achievements. This lesson has stayed with me throughout my career. In every position I have held, I have tried to create space for younger colleagues, to encourage their confidence, and to support their professional growth. Over the years, I have often observed something that has deeply impressed me. Many of the young women I have worked with approached their responsibilities with exceptional diligence and determination. They prepare carefully, they anticipate challenges, and they carry out their duties with a strong sense of responsibility. In many cases, this commitment reflects the messages women have long received from society. Many feel that they must work twice as hard in order to justify their presence and earn their place. While this exception can be demanding, it has also produced remarkable resilience and professionalism among so many women in public service. Today, we see inspiring examples of women's leadership across Egypt. Egyptian women are contributing to diplomacy, public service, academia, and international institutions with determination and vision. On this International Women's Day, I believe our shared responsibility is to continue strengthening networks of mentorship, solidarity, and encouragement among women. On this International Women's Day, which is marked by eruption of wars, genocide, and conflicts across the globe, I firmly believe in the necessity for more women in leadership positions. Our societies are stronger when women make the decisions that shape our future. In the words of the United Nations President of the General Assembly a few days ago, she explained, "When women sit at peace tables, agreements last longer. When women lead institutions, they are more resilient." I conclude today by stating that I remain deeply grateful for all the women who guided me along my path, and I remain committed to doing the same for those who will come after us. Together, we can ensure that the next generation of women will enter leadership spaces with confidence and wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Your Excellency, for those inspiring words and for sharing your insightful journey. Tonight's discussion will explore 5 themes: identity and journey, leadership and impact, barriers and resilience, giving back, and looking forward. Each of our panelists represents not only professional excellence, but also a powerful Egyptian identity shaped across cultures and continents.
Now that we know the remarkable women behind the screens, Let's begin by learning more about the journeys behind their successes. Let us begin with identity and journey. The question is, how has your Egyptian identity shaped your personal and professional journey? And we would like to start with Mrs. Ambassador.
Thank you, Alexi. Well, my Egyptian identity has shaped my journey in many ways. Egypt is a country with a very long and layered history. And throughout every stage of that history, women have played meaningful roles. If we look back to ancient Egypt, we grew up with the image of powerful women who governed, led, and influenced the course of history. Figures such as queens and rulers of ancient Egypt are not just historical references for us. They are symbols that have been deeply engraved in our collective memory and remind us that women have always had the ability to lead and to shape society. In more recent history as well, Egyptian women have continued to play an important role, a very meaningful moment that we commemorate every year in the 16th of March, which marks the participation of Egyptian women in the national protest of independence. At that time, women in many parts of the world still did not have the right to vote, yet Egyptian women were already demonstrating in the streets, and some even became martyrs in the struggle for national dignity. Soon after, Egyptian women were granted the right to vote in 1956, and only a year later, the first woman entered parliament. That was a remarkable step forward, not only for Egypt, but for the region as well. This spirit of progress has continued. Today, women occupy important leadership positions across Egypt. We have women ministers and vice ministers, advisors to the president, a deputy governor of the central bank, governors, and even a national security advisor. Women also hold a significant number of parliamentary seats and leadership positions across government institutions. Growing up with this legacy has had a profound impact on me. From an early age, I saw Egyptian women as pioneers who were constantly pushing the boundaries of what was possible. That environment gave me the conviction that barriers can always be challenged, and that every generation has the responsibility to move the process forward. Much has already been achieved, but I firmly believe that the journey continues and that the best is still ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ambassador. Lamia, can you please tell us how has your Egyptian identity shaped your personal and professional journey?
Well, first, I'd like to add to what Her Excellency said. There's a deep root when you have that kind of connection to a country like Egypt with such great history and the civilization. There was so much pride growing up, knowing who you are and the kind of country you belong to. It also stimulates curiosity. It makes you want to know more about your origin, more about your ancestors, but also there's a sense of responsibility with identifying how can you pursue that legacy, how can you continue giving back, and how can you continue being honorable and diligent to a country like Egypt, and to be the best model of and the best potential of what you can be. So it's a mixed feeling between pride, sense of responsibility, curiosity, but also a sense of there's so much more that we can do because we were so big before, and there seems to be this gap between where we were and where we are today. And there is this yearning for bringing back that sentiment, that pride, that strength, and also understanding that despite so many taboos that may have happened in our contemporary history, our contemporary time, the women have always been able, Egyptian women have always been able to stand tall, stand proud across several years, several generations. And it's our responsibility to carry that legacy forward and to keep inspiring others and connecting to others and supporting others and being the best model of yourself.
Thank you, Lamia, for that insight. And I'd like to bring in Jihan from Canada for another perspective. Jihan, are you there?
I'm here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And it's a great honor to be among such wonderful ladies. And thank you, Alexandra, for including me. One thing I had not counted on sharing was that my mother had 2 university degrees when most women were not finishing their education. She was with the mission to the UK in the 60s. Yeah, and when the ambassador was pulled away because of the issues with Rhodesia, she was entrusted to hold the fort. So I think I should honor her memory as well. But for myself, Egypt has prepared me to have a strong will and ability to survive, both on the personal and professional level. It shaped my attitude of taking on many challenges and seeing opportunities to mediate and diffuse conflict, given our diverse... Hello? Yeah? Given our diverse cultural history. Growing up in the 50s, when it was the norm to interact with many ethnicities. As an Egyptian, I can safely say that we are flexible, adaptable, and have a deep sense of worth. I was never made to feel unequal to fellow humans, and I don't use that word in regard to male-female relationships only. Coming from the cradle of civilization gives us the backbone and endurance of thousands of years of a fine-tuned experiment that was never stagnant. In fact, it is still a work in progress as we speak. It enhances our desire to grow and build on our past, to accept our culture with pride, while also have the self-confidence to identify and appreciate what other cultures have accomplished and incorporate them into our fold. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jihan. Miranda from France.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and happy Women's Day and happy Egyptian Diplomacy Day. Thank you for all the remarks. So building on all of that, I feel like the personal and professional level got intertwined in my case because prior to focusing on children's books, I had a career in economic development and international relations. And thanks to my background and language skills and work experience in Egypt, this helped me a lot to gain unmatched experience and resilience, and to be able to work in a culturally diverse environment, and to head a regional knowledge platform for the World Bank for several years. But then the personal came into place, and through the journey with my children growing abroad, I was the gatekeeper of the Egyptian culture. So I was trying to create an Egyptian oasis at home through food, through traditions around festivities, through language and culture. And from there, Heidi Bedi was born as an initiative with 2 other women, my colleagues and friends, Hind Badawi, who is in the UK, and Ranim Hassan as well, who's in the UK. And we built together Heidi Bedi as a platform to help other parents and educators who are looking for engaging children's stories in Arabic. And as a writer and translator, I try in my books to always highlight and celebrate the Egyptian culture and language through a variety. For example, I have a book who talks about Fresca in Alexandria, and the Egyptian dialect that was published last year was Asfura. I have another book about Shamanism to introduce the children to, it goes back to the ancient Egyptian times, and it's published with Dar el-Balsam. And I'm not here to make publicity for my books, but I just wanted to bring examples to even when I write, I make sure that the Egyptian culture is carried on and transferred to younger generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Miranda. Zaina from the UK, since you're close to France. Zaina, Would love to hear, how did the Egyptian identity shape your career and life?
Of course. First of all, I just wanted to say it's incredible to be surrounded by so many accomplished Egyptian women living all over the world. It's really an honor to be here. My Egyptian identity has formed the backbone of my life and my work in so many ways. And that backbone has also really been built by my family. My grandfathers were both storytellers in very different ways. One grandfather was a journalist. He would write stories every day that would be reported around the country and around the world. The other grandfather would tell us stories every evening that would leave me and my sisters and my cousins waiting to hear his next words and his next stories. And both of them really inspired me to think, how can we tell stories in a way that helps people learn, that brings people together, and that builds communities that go beyond nationalities and beyond cultures. And so I started working as an audio journalist, trying to think about how we can tell stories in a new way before starting Hikayatna, which is a community-driven production house specialized in cultural programming, specifically for North Africa and the Middle East. We do events all around the world, mostly in London. We've been doing events in Paris and Tunis and Cairo and more. And our events sort of focus on big questions that we can unpack together as an audience. So thinking about a different question and then together, learning from each other and telling stories in a new way. And then finally, our audio and our video production work helps cultural organizations, museums, companies, and more tell their stories in a new way to an accessible audience. So yeah, I think, Egypt has really shaped my identity, both as the person that I am, in the inspirations that I have around me, for the stories I love to tell, and it's the place I'll always call home.
Thank you, Zaina. Samar, Germany.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here among such incredible ladies. A couple of them I really admire on a personal level as well. Well, my Egyptian identity, I guess it shaped me both with who I am and how I lead. So growing up as an Egyptian, it means you already have a deep sense of resilience, adaptability, and maybe connection to people. And this is very important currently in leadership. So the culture of Egypt, it teaches you early how to navigate complexity, how to stay strong in even uncertain environments, and maybe how to build relationships that really matters. And these are the qualities of the really good leaders currently. Professionally, coming from Egypt, if most of you don't know, I lead one of the big companies in 65 countries in logistics, which is completely male-dominated field. And being an Egyptian lady, a hijabi woman, so you can imagine how when I enter boardrooms and everyone looks at you and gives you this look like, oh, she is the one leading this entity and will be able to manage. So here, I guess it comes my Egyptian identity that shapes my values. Egyptians normally known as natural community-driven people. So we lead with our heart, warmth, and loyalty. I guess this is what I carry with me every time I build something or I take an initiative or whenever I'm in bold rooms. So where I remember that I'm Egyptian and I have to stay strong for not only for myself, but also for other talented Egyptian women and Arab maybe women who deserves to be seen in global leadership spaces because we are equal. This is, I guess, how it is.
Thank you, Samar.
Okay.
And from the UAE, Reem, can you please share your insight? Hi, Reem.
Hi, thank you, Alex. I'm very grateful and honored to be with you today and to share more about how the Egyptian identity shapes me. It has actually shaped me from the very early beginnings and specifically the culture of my city, not only Egypt, my city, Alexandria, and how I was always curious to research and understand more the history of the city and how the city itself not only shaped my identity, but the civilizations of the world. And from that came all the ideas that I have implemented after, and you can see from the name of my organization, Agora, the ancient open space of gathering, where all the civilizations were meeting and shaping and developing and exporting to the world. I have been also shaped by many interesting characters in the history of this era or this period in the history of Egypt. at the ancient library of Alexandria, the foundation of knowledge, the gathering of all the sciences of the world, and specifically figures like Hypatia and the teachers that used to teach at the ancient library, and how they shaped the knowledge of the world and the concepts of questioning everything, not taking anything for granted, and researching and asking outside of the box to find the unknown. So this has been what shaped my identity from the history of the country. And of course, now after having studied resilience and I got my PhD in resilience building, I understand that our foundation is part of our DNA. So resilience from the history of Egypt is part of our DNA as women. Thank you.
Thank you, Reem. Last but not least is Raghda from the United States.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Alex and Women of Egypt, for giving us the platform today to be among this amazing group of women. Egypt shaped who I am, but so did the mentors around me, teachers, professors, family, mentors. I began my career in Egypt in a very dynamic and fast-paced industry, a highly competitive field constantly shaped by global changes and challenges, which is the essential oil and flavor and fragrance sector. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with organizations, governments, industry partners, while also volunteering for associations that support the growth of me in our field. So Egypt opened the doors for me to be the first Egyptian woman as a chair in a leading US organization, which is the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy, and also to be the committee member in Women in Flavors and Fragrance North America. Changing the platform, adding Arabic as a language in a first time in history in those platforms. Not only that, but also building bridges between cultures and shedding the light on the sector I love in Egypt, taking people to see the farmers, the distilleries, and how people are really working, and see the real Egypt that I love and I know. This gave me, all of this together gave me the opportunity to do what I'm doing today in business, in education, in sustainability, and preserving the heritage and preserving the sector that I like. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghda. Thank you, everybody. This has been very insightful and very powerful. I appreciate all your input.
Okay, now let's move to the second theme, the leadership and impact theme. And as we all know, leadership has many meanings in different contexts. We'd like to ask our first guest, Reem Esim, what does leadership mean to you as an Egyptian woman in your field?
Well, leadership, as you've said, means has different meanings to everyone. For me personally, leadership means being authentic, leading by being an example. So throughout my career, I have always made sure that I set an example for others to follow, and not go by big titles or by big mottos. Just be the leader that I want, be as authentic as I should be. And leadership also to me means being human. So focusing on the process. I don't say that the end result is not important, but by focusing on the process and how we as humans go through this process and be led throughout it, will definitely guarantee a great result. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that beautiful insight. And I'd like to bring in another perspective. Jihan Sabri, what impact are you most proud of?
Sorry, I didn't notice about activating the camera last time, and I forgot to thank Dr. Ahmed for the introduction. Okay, so I am really proud of having raised my kids to value all others, regardless of their culture, faith, ethnicity, or race. And my 38 years of activism promoting mutual respect and transcending barriers through my magazine, Cross Cultures, organizing anti-racism community events, and both my Arabic and English radio talk shows. When I say 38, that's not my age. That's the time I spent in Canada. I'm 74. Anyways, I believe I was instrumental in facilitating how mainstream approaches newcomer immigrants by initiating various projects to help bridge the gap of understanding and enhance their transition into society, because I understood what they would be going through. I was fortunate to have no language barrier. I'm fluent in English, Arabic, good in French, and possible in German. Thank you.
Thank you for the powerful words, Jihan. And let's move to our next guest, Zainab Dwidar. Was there a turning point that made you believe your impact could go beyond your immediate environment?
Thank you for that question. One of the moments that I can really remember is one of our first events we did in London. It was called What's in a Name? And the idea of the event was to sort of unpack and think about the names that sometimes people will go by when they move abroad from the Arab world for the first time. So, Muhammad would become Mo, Isam could become Simo, like lots of nicknames and ways to make our names a bit more palatable for foreign tongues. And the event was really active. Lots of people were there. Lots of people had ideas. And one guy stood up and he was saying that he was Libyan. His name was Mabrouk. And he had been going by Brooke his entire life because he felt like that was the easiest way for him to be living in London, for people to get used to saying his name. And so he was going by Brooke wherever he went. And a month after the event, I met him again. And he told me that after the event, he had started going by Mabrouk and has sort of corrected his workplace, has corrected the people around him, even his football team, his weekly football team in London. And since then, he's really been owning up to his name and thinking a lot more about his cultural identity. And that for me really was a turning point to see that the topics and stories that we were speaking about at these events and the ways that people were connecting and feeling a sense of community and solidarity was making an impact in their everyday lives and was helping them think about their homes, their backgrounds, and their identities in new ways.
Okay, thank you, Zainab. And I love the diversity of the experiences we're hearing tonight. Back to you, Alex.
Success rarely comes without challenge. And we have all gone through a lot of barriers, and there's a lot of resilience in all of us. And I would like to ask Lamia Kamel about the challenges you have faced, and how did you overcome them? Hello, Lamia? Are you still there?
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes.
I often think about the challenges that I've gone through my life, and as much as sometimes I feel, I wish I enjoyed things more, I wish I did this differently, but if it weren't for those challenges, I wouldn't have developed so much as a character and been able to perform the way I did or help others the way I really wanted to. So if it wasn't for those challenges, I don't think I would have been able to be the person I am today or perform the way I am performing today. And if I would think of those challenges, I'd like to segment them into three. There is the personal challenges, there's the professional challenges, and there's the societal challenges. The personal challenges, well, I lost my father when I was 20 years old, and I was still at university. And migrating to life without a father as an adult really impacted me. And starting my own business without that kind of backup and without so much financial support, it was really a big challenge for me as a woman. And I went through the normal cycle of getting married and having children, but I also was a single mom. So again, I was alone. I think that the journey of being on my own for quite some time and crossing life as an individual, it could have made me a very tough person. It could have made me a rigid person, but I'm grateful because it made me kinder, because it made me relate to people more, and it made me want to help more, because I was also fortunate because I saw so many wonderful women who stood by me and who acknowledged those challenges and wanted to give me opportunities and wanted to give me chances. So yes, being on my own was a challenge. Professionally, when I started my own business in the PR industry and founding that 20 years ago, it wasn't very common. There weren't so many local PR companies at the time. It was mostly an international institution. And we were competing basically with a lot of global companies at the time. So finding the right talent and being at the same time not financially capable to pay the salaries that you would want to attract that caliber was a really big challenge for me, because I wanted to perform, I wanted to deliver, but I was struggling to find that talent and to compensate for that talent. So it really took me a long time to build a team. It really did. But once I did, I think it was just the struggle in the beginning and then right before you're about to give up, something beautiful happens and something lights up and you get this great contract, or you get that wonderful person who would help you out and offer you a great opportunity, which happened to me across my life several times. Societal, as far as the society is concerned, I think we sometimes, despite the fact that we in Egypt have a lot of opportunity, but there's still this judgment. There's still this, at least back at the time when I was building my company, are you going to be able to do it? You're on your own. It's a one-man show. Do you have a big team? And there's this judgment of, there's this doubt. So you have to work harder and prove yourself more and be able to prove that you're a leader and that you're capable and that you're accountable and that you're going to fulfill. So yeah, it was a tough journey, but one that I'm really, really grateful for.
But you are tougher. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing this amazing journey with us. And building on what you said, Raghda, how does this resonate with your journey? The challenges that you have faced and the barriers?
Wow. Well, barriers and challenges has been part of my journey all my life. As Summer said earlier, I worked in an industry dominated by men. Chemists, perfumers, farmers. I had always to prove my knowledge, my capabilities to make my voice heard. So beyond the professional challenges, balancing a family, building a career, moving to another country, and continuing education, all at the same time was really hard. However, I was not always seeing the challenges as obstacles. I chose to see them as opportunities to grow. Stronger, resilient, determined. Every barrier and every challenge, although sometimes it was really hard, pushed me to work harder, stay curious, and learning from all the experiences along the way.
Thank you, Raghda. That was very powerful as well. Samar, what role did resilience play in your journey?
Well, resilience in my journey, I guess it shaped the whole journey. For me, it's continuing moving forward during moments where the path is not really clear. You have unclear path and the pressure is always high. The responsibilities are even heavier. But here comes the resilience, especially across cultures and industries, with always constant tests, difficult decisions, setbacks, isolation at some times, and the weight of expectations. So resilience was, for me, the ability to absorb all those moments without letting them define me. And this is very important for me, to learn from them and to return stronger, wiser, just as building on what Lamia was saying, and to be more grounded. So over the time, and when you just look back to your path, you find that, that was the resilience, why you are now not tough, why you are more kind, because you are more resilient. You learned a lot, and because you have a bunch of people who helped you. It's clarity and self-awareness, the capacity to grow through the pressure without collapsing. So I guess this is what resilience did to me.
That's wonderful to hear that. Thank you for sharing this. And Miranda, going to France and to Miranda, did
Yes.
being an Egyptian woman abroad present unique challenges or unique strengths?
So, well, unique challenges. I think without, I would say, Egyptian per se, but as a woman in between cultures, I would say it presents both challenges and strength because, in a way, you kind of navigate between two cultures or maybe more. And you find yourself kind of the communicator in between. So I would say this presents both a challenge, but also a strength. And kind of trying to find your place and in whatever community you end up being in, while maintaining your ties with your home country. It's also another issue that because you're on your own, you don't have the support system or the family, the friends that we are used to, and also trying to maintain that while you are away. In Egypt, as you know, we're very closely knit as families, as a group of friends, etc. So sometimes it's challenging to be on your own, but still you try to kind of build new roots in where you are and try to maintain and nurture the relationships that you have back in your home country. So it's both, I would say.
Wow, that's very powerful. Thank you for that, and we appreciate your journey as well. Dina?
Okay, we're moving to the fourth theme, giving back. And my question is for Ambassador Nada Draz. Many accomplished women see giving back as part of their legacy. In your experience, how can successful women mentor, support, and empower the next generation of Egyptian women?
Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, Dina, mentoring the next generation begins with leading by example. Young professionals observe how we work, how we make decisions, and how we respond to challenges. So the first step in mentorship is demonstrating integrity, professionalism, and commitment in our own work. But mentorship also means actively opening the doors for younger colleagues. I believe it is important to give them real opportunities. That includes assigning them meaningful responsibilities, encouraging them to take on challenging tasks, advocating for them to be considered for key positions or postings where they can give valuable experience. At the same time, mentorship is also about helping them develop the mindset needed to navigate in today's world. We live in a very fast-paced and interconnected global environment where information travels instantly and decisions have far-reaching consequences. So for this reason, I encourage younger colleagues to cultivate critical thinking, flexibility, and openness to different perspectives. Another important lesson I try to share is humility. None of us knows everything. Good leadership means knowing when to seek advice, when to consult experts, and when to rely on teamwork. I also believe it is important to show younger colleagues that mistakes are part of any demanding career. What matters is how we respond to them. Accepting responsibility, correcting errors, learning from experiences are essential elements of professional growth. Ultimately, mentorship is about building confidence, about helping the next generation to feel empowered, to take initiative, and eventually to become leaders themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador, for sharing your inspiring insights. And back to Alexandra.
This section is about looking forward. And as we celebrate this month of women, We're coming to the end of our session, but not quite yet. But I would love to hear from everybody, and starting with Mrs. Ambassador. What is your hope for the future of Egyptian women globally?
Oh, okay. Well, I believe that women around the world have already made remarkable progress in many fields, whether in politics, economics, diplomacy, public service, but there is still a lot to be done. In a world consumed by wars, ravaged by conflicts, there is an urgent need for a strong female presence at negotiation tables, in decision-making centers, and in leadership positions. By nature, women lean towards peace and possess the wisdom to sustain it. They are the first to be affected by wars and the ones who best understand their devastating toll. Therefore, if you see a woman at a negotiating table, know that the resulting agreement will last longer. Empowering women is the key and the secret. As the United Nations Secretary General stated during the celebration of the International Women's Day, women and girls are changing the world. It is time to change the word for women and girls. One of the most important factors for future progress is education. Educating young girls is the key that unlocks opportunity. Education gives women the tools they need to build independent lives, contribute to their societies, and assume leadership roles. We already have inspiring examples of what this empowerment can achieve. One example I have in mind is Dr. Ghada Wali, who served as Egypt's Minister for Social Solidarity and later became the first Egyptian, Arab, and African woman to lead the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Her journey shows us how national investment in women's leadership can have a global impact. Progress also depends on a strong political will. In Egypt today, we see clear steps in that direction. Our constitution guarantees women's participation in public life and includes quotas that ensure a minimum representation of women in parliament. In addition, many constitutional provisions affirm equality, citizenship, and non-discrimination. These measures are important foundations, but they are only part of a broader transformation that continues to evolve. My hope for the next generation is that women will not only participate in leadership, but they will shape the future of leadership itself. I hope they will lead with confidence, with wisdom, and a strong sense of responsibility toward their societies and toward the world. The progress we have made so far shows what is possible, but our ambitions go much further than our current achievements. I look forward to a future where even more women rise to positions of influence and continue to expand the horizons of opportunities for those who follow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for these empowering words. We really appreciate it. Zaina, what is your hope for the future of Egyptian women globally, being a young emerging girl, a young lady yourself?
Yeah, I think the future of Egyptian women globally is really tied to the spaces we create to support each other and to share our experiences. Outside of Hakatna, I'm currently doing my PhD, and my research is really looking at how we navigate speaking about difficult conversations in our lives. You know, how do we speak up when we need support? How can we as Egyptian women sort of learn to have hard conversations with families, with coworkers, with bosses, and with other people in our lives? And I really hope that by listening to women's stories, listening to how we support each other, you know, whether through friendships or family networks or even online communities, we can start to shape our own futures and build sort of forms of solidarity across borders.
Thanks, Zaina, so much. And Jihan, can you please share your words about what is your hope for the future of Egyptian women globally?
I hope that
Hello?
I hope that, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I just hope that we can continue to cherish the sisterhood and not shy away from integrating. And that's one of the reasons why I really, really hold you, Alexandra, in very high esteem for having, for 10 years now, built up the organization and all that you are doing. We the first encounter with you was during the Arab Spring, and we've continued to be in touch, and I really appreciate that.
And we appreciate you so much. Reem from the UAE, what is your vision or hope for women, Egyptian women globally in the future?
Well, I think everything has been already said, but maybe I can add something very small, which is I hope that Egyptian women globally would get equal opportunity and be heard. Because sometimes we are not given equal opportunity, and that maybe delays some of our achievements or makes us take more time to reach where we want to reach. So I hope for everyone to have equal opportunity, because if we are given equal opportunity, I believe that we can fly.
Thank you, Reem. That was very powerful, and we appreciate that. Our next question to Miranda. Also about looking forward, but what is the advice that you would like to give young Egyptian women who are watching us today, or young Egyptian women in general, not just the ones who are watching us?
I would advise them, find your passion and go for it.
That's brief and to the point.
Yes.
Thank you. Raghda?
I just want to start with Maya Angelou's quote. Each time a woman stands up for herself, she stands up for all women. I would say believe in your voice, your ideas, even if the path in front of you is not clearly defined. Work hard, stay curious, never feel that you have to fit into someone else's mold. The culture, the perspective, the heritage is very powerful tools that you need to carry along your life and your career.
Thank you, Raghda. And Samar, please, to end this segment, Samar, would love to hear from you. Also, as a young woman living abroad and working and struggling and trying to find your spot in the boardrooms, what advice would you give to young Egyptian women today?
Well, I would say two things. First, never let the limits of people's imagination become the limits of your life, because this is what I see for many young ladies. Number one. Number two, be brave about your ambition and choose your circle wisely, because the people around you can either expand your vision or shrink it. Last but not least, don't wait for validation, please. Many successful women started when nobody believed in them. So just believe in yourself and you can make it.
Thank you, Samar. Dina?
Okay, we've come to the end of our event today. And before we close, we would be honored if we could share a brief closing thought with our audience. We'll start with Ambassador Nada Dras.
In Arabic.
Your Excellency?
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes, we.
اوكي انا عندي رساله مزدوجه لكل البنات والستات. احب اقول لهم ان مفيش حد هيديكي اي حق على طبق من فضه، وان عليكي انك انت تستمري وانك انت تطالبي بمزيد من الحقوق، لانه لو ما استمرتيش في الكفاح ده اللي كسبناه ممكن نشهد ان يكون في تراجع. وفي نفس الوقت عندي رساله تانية للقائمين على صنع القرار، بطالبهم ان يكون في مزيد لتمكين من المراه في كل المجالات. لو المرأة ممكنة والمرأة هي شريك وهي نص المجتمع، هتلاقوا دايما نتائج ملموسة، والنتائج دي هتكون برضو في كل حاجة، في التنمية، في التقدم، في السلام، في كل حاجة. فهو دي الرسالة بتاعتي. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the powerful words. We'll move to Jihan. Can you please share with us our closing thoughts with our audience?
أنا عايزة أقول بس إنه لازم نستمر في العطاء وفي إننا نبقى عندنا إيمان في قوتنا. That's it.
Thank you, Jihan. And Reem Asim, can you please share with us a closing thought?
I would like to share one sentence that I always tell myself when I feel down or I feel that I'm about to give up. إن الله لا يضيع أجر من أحسن عملا.
Beautiful. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Zena, kindly share
كنت
with us
عايزة
a clothing.
كنت عايزة أشكر كل حد النهاردة إن انتوا أخدتوا وقت من يومكم وتيجوا تتكلموا معانا وتسمعونا، وإن شاء الله يعني أنا لسه في أول يعني رحلتي في السكة دي، وكنت عايزة بس أشكركم جدا، واتعلمت كتير قوي من كل حد معايا في البانل، وإن شاء الله ممكن نكونكت مع ناس تانية موجودة هنا النهاردة وأتعلم منكم أكتر. شكرا.
Thank you, Zena. We're pleased to have you here today, and we'll move to Miranda. Kindly share with us a closing thoughts.
والله شرف، وبجد مبسوطة إن أنا كنت موجودة ما بين كل الجمع الجميل ده. اللي هقوله إنه لكل ست وكل بنت ما تخافش إنها تجرب حاجات جديدة، وإنها لو حاسة إنه لو في باب اتقفل في مليون باب تاني هيتفتح. دايما بنخاف ان احنا نجرب حاجات جديدة وما بنبقاش عندنا ثقة في نفسنا، بس ان احنا نجرب يبقى عندنا شجاعة ومرونة، بيفرق جامد جدا.
Thank you, Miranda. Let's move to Ragda. Ragda, can you please share with us a closing thought?
أولا أنا بشكر حضراتكم تاني جميعا، وخصوصا Women of Egypt أليكس ودينا. بتمنى إن يعني أي حد يقدر يتعاون مع بعض من الحضور النهارده، ان احنا نقدر نبقى منتورز للاجيال اللي جايه من البنات الصغيرين والستات الصغيرين، نقدر نساعدهم بتجاربنا بكل اللي مرينا بيه. متهيألي ده هيبقى حاجه كويسه ان احنا نسيبها لهم، يقدروا دايما يستفيدوا منها. دي مجرد فكره.
Thank you, Ragda. Thank you, Ragda, for joining us today. And we'll, last but not least, we'll end with to conclude our event with Summer.
أنا حابة أشكر Women of Egypt جدا جدا، وحابة أشكر كل المجموعة الرائعة وبروفيسور سامح سرور الموجودين واللي قدمني النهاردة. وده دليل على إن بجد الست المصرية عندها قدرة نادرة إنها تقوم من كل صعوبة وتحول الضغط القوة من كل القصص اللي سمعناها، وبتنجح وهي شايلة قد إيه مسؤوليات كتيرة. فأنا مع سيادة السفيرة ومع رغدة لما قالوا إن بليز feel free to reach out لو نقدر نساعد بعض في أي حاجة، أو نقدر نكون واصلة ما بين الناس بره والناس في مصر. I'm all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Summer.
Tonight, we heard inspiring stories of courage, determination, and impact. Egyptian women are shaping industries, communities, and narratives across the world. On International Women's Day and Egyptian Women's Day, we celebrate not only achievements, but possibilities. Thank you to our guest of honor, Ambassador Nada Dras, our distinguished panelists, and everyone who joined us. And special thanks to my co-host Nada Al-Mahdi and to our social media specialist Basant Wahid. This concludes our panel. We hope you leave inspired and empowered, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.